This is Right Now, and commentary comes from Craig Burley and Ian Crocker.
Well, Kevin Keegan's Newcastle team of the 90s famously toppled Manchester United 5-0, but that was then. This is now. These days, United are thrashing Newcastle 6-0. Sir Alex Ferguson once overturned Newcastle's 12-point lead at the top, so Arsenal's 6-point lead at the moment won't worry him too much. Kevin Keegan looking for his first win since returning to Tyneside. It would be so typical if he did it today. Chris Foy is in charge of a fixture that usually guarantees goals. In recent years we've had a 6-0, 6-2, 4-3, 5-3, 5-1. Newcastle and Manchester United don't do dull if they can help it. Rooney rising. It's turned away by Abdoulaye Faye, one of a few who have recently returned from the African Nations Cup for Newcastle.
Well, there's a cracking atmosphere in here this evening, St James's Park. Much anticipation about what type of performance they're going to get from the home side. Really struggled in recent weeks.
Milner has got past Evra as Newcastle look to make an early impression. Milner has support from Bay, and Alan Smith's not going to give that up.
I do think he will be important for Newcastle, Milner, this evening. He has shown already this season that he is capable.
Smith jostling with his former teammate Vidic. Here's Bay. Tremendous turn, but Rio Ferdinand met the cross. Michael Owen is lurking. Ferdinand has just managed to sneak it back.
Well, I just mentioned about the atmosphere inside St James's Park earlier, and that will get them up. Pretty sharp start from Newcastle. Can't allow too much possession to Manchester United. Got to get up the field, try and squeeze the game, and close them down.
Just 5 weeks ago, Newcastle suffered that 6-0 defeat at Old Trafford. A devastating second-half display from United. Exacting quick revenge may be a tall order. Here's Nani. Away by Stephen Taylor, but only to Evra. Nani. Abdoulaye Faye met it that time, but United haven't finished with Newcastle just yet. Where's Brown? Cristiano Ronaldo. Rooney. Ronaldo nearly had Newcastle in his sights again. He's found his fellow countryman. It's Nani. And it's Faye with an important intervention.
That's Habib Bey tucked in so far on that right-hand side. There was acres of space for Nani. And the ball was slipped out to him.
Fletcher, Tevez, who rescued United in Lyon. Fletcher advancing, but it's a fine challenge from Stephen Taylor. Zogbia. Damien Duff, who picked up an ankle knock in training yesterday and was a little bit doubtful, but he starts. Smith. But two former Manchester United players. And Zogbia. Off the head of Rio Ferdinand. Here's Milner. Shadowed by Nani. He may well need assistance from Habib Bey. But for Barton. Screened by Ferdinand, but the tsunami encouraged by the early exchanges. And Zogbia. Barton. Here's Duff. And Zogbia, it's inviting. Owen lurking. He has scored in his last two games.
Well, it's half a chance. Pretty good start for Newcastle, very positive. Good ball, and I think the only thing you could say is he's well in front of that near post. Michael Owen as his ball comes in, so it is going to be difficult to get that back on target with any pace. He's tightly marked as well. He does get half a yard in front, but as I said, once he gets in front of that post, it's difficult to direct it back in. But I have to say, I think Kevin Keegan will be pretty pleased with the way his team have started.
Well, it's there in black and white for Newcastle. If they don't start winning soon, they could become embroiled in a relegation battle, and that doesn't bear thinking about in these parts. Rooney wasn't ready for the quick free kick from Carrick. Shea Given aiming for Alan Smith. Wes Brown keeping a check on him. Here's Duff. Fletcher in the way. Smith. Barton. He's got away from Fletcher. Joey Barton recently returned to the side after much publicised off-field problems. Duff. And Zogbia. Michael Carrick, northeast boy. Evra, now Tevez. This is Rooney. Nani has darted through the middle. Newcastle have gone 9 games without a win in the Premier League. Last time they went 10 without a win was in 1999, and during that wretched run, Ruud Gullit lost his job. This is only Kevin Keegan's 6th game in charge, and half of those have been against Arsenal and Manchester United, so give him a chance. Nani. Barton pipped Carrick to it. Vidic covering though. Manchester United outstanding in so many areas, but their defence has been particularly tight this season. Nani took a sore one.
I think it was when Habib Bacon's right through the back. Him, definitely not a free kick, nothing in it at all. Bay wins the ball, he jumps early. You can quite clearly see he takes a knock in the top of the head. He's just trying to make a back for Bay there.
United have actually gone 2 games without a win in the Premier League, which is a bad run for them. It hasn't happened since August.
Ronaldo just gone to the left-hand side. He's told Nani, get yourself over at the right.
Habib Bey. Sam Allardyce signing from Marseille. Evra. And Ronaldo nearby. It's offside, flags up.
I think the one thing you don't want to be doing, as you can see, is quite clearly offside, is giving away sloppy possession and inside your own half, near your own goal lines. Newcastle did there when they had ample opportunity to clear the ball and try to be a bit fancy. You can't give this United side anything scrappy. They should surely make their own chances in this match.
Carlos Tevez chasing, and Shea Given has come a fair way.
Well, that's good goalkeeping from Given, because he'd spun in behind Tevez, he'd had a run-on fight. Right on the edge of his box, the goalkeeper.
Fletcher. Nicky Butt challenging Rooney. And Rooney giving away a free kick, catching his England teammate, Michael Owen. That highly controversial late penalty for Birmingham against Arsenal earlier did Manchester United a favour. If they win here, the gap at the top will be cut to 3 points. Chelsea, of course, have the Carling Cup on their minds this weekend. Zogbia for Smith, now Duff. Rooney. Nani, mugged by Nicky Butt. He's in the walls in the opening minutes.
Well, I think it's the left arm of Nicky Butt. He does brush him out of the way. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Right in front of the referee. You can see it's not a great touch from Nani there, but that left arm just comes across Nani's face. It's not an elbow, that's for sure. But it's his second knock he's taken in this match.
He's in no hurry to get up, but he's not going to get any treatment. He certainly doesn't need that. Nicky Butt relishing a contest against the club that he serves so well.
Was that anything to do with the showboat and Nani was putting on last week? Certainly ruffled William Gallas's. He didn't like it very much. Entitled to do it, Nani, but it does wind players up. I think Newcastle have shown their intent. 10 minutes just gone. They're going to try and play, and they're trying to be positive, but they haven't given United a minute in the ball so far.
Smith now for Duff. Owen and Milner will join Smith in the middle. Barton not far away as well. Pinged in by Duff. Carrick finding a fair bit of space. Rooney's touch not great, and we don't say that very often. Bay. Just look at Rooney, keeping him occupied. A persistent pest. United have it back. Carlos Tevez. Tevez. Zogbia made contact. Milner. It's flashed right across that 6-yard box. No takers.
Well, I was just going to say in the build-up to that attack, they need to get bodies in the box. I think if you look at it from this angle here, you can see it's only really Alan Smith that's making a move to get in. They're sort of jogging into the box, and that is an excellent ball across. Make no bones about that. That should have people trying to get on the end of it. Whipped into a great area. Defenders backing towards their own goal. Van der Sar can't come. He knows it, but you've got to pile the bodies in there.
He would have been there, Kevin Keegan, a good few years ago.
Just ambling into the box, really. You've got to get in with a bit of intent, expecting a cross to come in and have a bit of quality, and that's what it was.
Tevez. Nicky Butt, as you might expect, is well up for it. Tevez, Rooney. Tevez. Shea Given behind that. A moment of concern for Newcastle, who haven't beaten Manchester United since 2001. Kevin Keegan wasn't around then, but it was his kind of scoreline, 4-3. An own goal from Wes Brown decided it. And Roy Keane was sent off following an infamous spat with Alan Shearer. Smith penalised as Brown went to the ground. Sent off in the closing stages of that 6-0 defeat last month, just to compound Newcastle's considerable misery. Nigel Pearson was in caretaker charge that day after Sam Allardyce's departure. Zogbia nearly in bother. Phase clearance only goes to Carrick. Here is Tevez, here is Rooney, and it's Stephen Taylor who's hooked that away.
Well, that all came about because once again they're dilly-dallying on the edge of the box. Not a great clearance straight out. Loads of room there. They've got 3 on 2. I thought he was going to pull the trigger there. Rooney decides to go across the box. I don't think it was the right option for him.
Nani's corner, Ferdinand nearly near it. Patrice Evra. Ferdinand lets it go. It's Nani again. Away by Faye. Nani tries again, but that's comfy for Given.
I'm just watching Faye at times. I think he's struggling a little bit with the movement of Rooney and Tevez, and Nani coming off wide positions. Been caught a couple of times already with Tevez spinning in behind him.
Whilst Manchester United have been dealing with Arsenal and Lyon, Newcastle have had a fortnight off. Ronaldo. And Zogbia wary of Rooney's presence.
Crowd don't agree with that. Kevin Keegan doesn't agree with it. I think referee's spot on. I think if you watch Alan Smith here, he's watching the man, he's just backing in. What else can Vidic do there? Kevin Keegan doesn't agree with it, but I think he just saw Alan Smith a little glimpse towards the player.
Tevez, Brown, Ronaldo. Another free kick for United. A word of warning for Joey Barton.
Yeah, he just caught Ronaldo, but it's been a good spat in there early doors, middle of the pitch. Barton and Butt certainly get the bit between their teeth against Fletcher and Carrick. Usually important, they stamp their authority in that part of the pitch.
Carrick. Nani. Fletcher. Here's the uncompromising Vidic, seeking out Cristiano Ronaldo, which is always a pretty good idea. Damien Duffer could be on his way. And he's been tripped by Wes Brown.
Ironic cheers about St James's Park because the referee's given a decision their way. You can see he just catches Damien Duff. Another chance for Duff to get some more games under his belt, get some sharpness back.
And Zogbia's free kick, and Van der Sar made sure he got there. Newcastle coming back for more though. And it's going to be another free kick in a decent position. They're barging Barton.
Well, I think it's the first real chance Newcastle to stick from a set piece that is a bit of quality in. I've seen Faye before when a real threat when the ball's delivered into a good area. I would suggest around about penalty spot when whipped in between there and the 6-yard box of what they'll be aiming for.
It's Damien Duff who does whip it in. Michael Carrick's header posing a problem for Van der Sar. And it was certainly a little too crowded in there for his liking. Milner securing a throw, which will be taken by Habib Bey. Milner helps it on, out by Vidic, but only to Duff. He never quite had it under control. That's unlike Shay Given. Tevez. Faye was strong. Zogbia now. Duff. His fancy flick didn't work out. Rooney's did. Carrick charging through. And Carrick now for Rooney. That was a major worry for Newcastle, but it came to nothing. And United could be a little stretched. Damien Duff for Michael Owen. The midfield men only just getting back for United. Duff. Milner. Away by Ferdinand and then by Carrick. Tevez. Ronaldo. Nani. Ronaldo. And Zogbia slid in and Ronaldo saw it coming. Ferdinand. Carrick leaves it for Fletcher. Here's Evra. Rooney coming deep. Carrick. Nani. Put it away by Bay. Evra then will take this throw. Of course, when the teams met at Old Trafford last month, it was 0-0 at half-time. It most certainly wasn't come full-time. Nani. Newcastle inviting some pressure. Nani aiming to give Bay the run around. Flicked away by Faye, but here's Ronaldo. Well, he can't do it all the time, but he does do it most of the time. In the SPL tomorrow from 1 on Setanta Sports 1, St Mirren face the champion Celtic. We're in the Setanta Shield on Tuesday at 7:30 for Crawley against Aldershot. And more action from the SPL on Wednesday at 7. It's Hearts against Rangers. Manchester United 9 times Premier League champions. And counting, they hope. Barton. Now Milner. Milner making room, but Damien Duff is not going to get near that. Disappointing delivery.
Yeah, it was, but a little bit unlucky. Once again, good play from Milner. I think he fancies it against Evra this evening. Just fakes to go with the cross back inside. Watch Damien Duff sneaking into the back post. Plenty of room for him. If we could have picked that ball into the box.
The clouds are gathering above St James's Park. Newcastle merely 6 points clear of the relegation zone at the moment. They haven't won since Joey Barton's late penalty gave them that victory at Fulham just before Christmas, which was barely deserved. Free kick.
Cristiano Ronaldo not really in the game at the moment. Haven't got him on the ball as much as they would like. Glimpses of him so far, and Zogbia's done a good job at the moment.
Smith rising, and Michael Owen. Ferdinand's challenge, Newcastle cry penalty. Chris Foy says no.
Well, he's had to have played the ball, I think, because the ball definitely moves direction. You can see Michael Owen's in here. Crowd want a penalty. It's certainly not for me. Risky challenge, but it had to be made. As Michael Owen tried to sneak in round the back. One long leg from Ferdinand. It looked like he got a little bit on the ball.
Risky but timely from Rio Ferdinand. Although 50,000 Geordies would disagree with the timely bit. Vidic for Ferdinand.
Well, it was just one of those challenges that he had to make. He just had to take that chance, didn't he? Paid off for him.
Ronaldo has swapped sides again to try and get more involved. He is involved, and Wayne Rooney arrives on the scene to put Manchester United in front. Ronaldo the provider, Rooney the scorer, a lethal double act.
Well, we're just talking about him, you know, on the right-hand side, and Zogby had played him well. But it only takes 1 second and one piece of magic, and that's exactly what this is. But you're just watching Zogby at the bottom of your picture, the left back. He's having a cup of tea and a biscuit. He's just fell asleep, and Wayne Rooney ain't going to miss from there. The quality's on the ball. The left back switched off, hasn't got a clue where Rooney is, and he just dispatches it in the back of the net. Shea Given has got absolutely no chance, and after a very good start, United, and the quality is just told.
Wayne Rooney has scored more goals against Newcastle than any other side, and they keep on coming. There was a time when you wouldn't have seen Rooney and Ronaldo embracing like that, but not as far as club matters are concerned. Newcastle rattled.
Well, they will be. It's been a decent start for them, to say the least. They've got the crowd up, Newcastle. They've been quite positive.
Cristiano Ronaldo had been fairly quiet, and then he went and did that.
Charles and Zogby had been playing him quite well, but it was also Zogby that fell asleep at the back post.
And a free kick for United may increase the torment. Oh, there's going to be a yellow card. And Zogbia is going to receive it. Chris Foy running out of patience. Nani's free kick, not the best, but the relief may only be temporary for Newcastle. Carrick, Ronaldo. Rooney, marking the 250th game of his club career with a goal. Will Newcastle United respond to that? Desperate for points. They've been slipping and sliding in the Premier League. Wes Brown will deal with that. Tevez. Nicky Butt encouraged. Now Barton. Here's Nzogbia. Damien Duff maintaining Newcastle's interest. Some trickery from Nzogbia, and across from Duff, and between them, Vidic and Ferdinand clear it, but not very far. And Newcastle have responded effectively.
Oh, he just doesn't quite catch it, Damien Duff. You can see he gets himself in it, works himself back to him, and Nzogbia, not a great clearance here. He's tried to whip it across the face, doesn't get any pace in it.
In from Nzogbia, and it's off Michael Carrick, local boy. Newcastle seeking A quick response, but Van der Sar will easily grab the corner from Milner.
Faye was just stopping Van der Sar releasing that ball earlier there. The referee's going to book him for it. I think you'll see him just getting in Van der Sar's way. And whether he drags him back or not, I don't know, but he certainly obstructs him. The referee decides that that's a booking. You can quite clearly see as Van der Sar wants to get on with this, wants to get on the counter-attack, you know. Just blocking him, really.
Well, they can't really argue with that. Abdoulaye Faye joins Charles Nzogbia in the book. Damien Duff. Michael Owen ahead of him, of course. Duff held up en route. Nani with room to manoeuvre. Nani staying down again. But he certainly didn't make the most of that.
Yeah, he's got to play Tebas in there.
Milner. Barton. Milner. Evra coming across to sort out Milner. Now Ronaldo chasing this. And credit to Bay, who kept up with him, and that's no mean feat. Joey Barton. Smith close to Vidic. Now Nani's going to latch onto that. Careless. Bay. Milner. A tantalising turn. And it's been diverted away.
Well, it has been the one, James Milner, so far that's looked likely for them. Pretty sharp down that right-hand side. Not the first time he's cut back inside. Decent strike. And it deflects off West Brown in the end. Whether it was going in or not remains to be seen. Well, it was going wide. Well, it is a bit more positive for them. It's been a decent response since going behind. And that's what they've got to do. Stay positive.
Milner's corner. It's going to be another one. Newcastle will have to do what not many other teams have managed in the Premier League this season: score against United. They've only conceded 14 goals, the tightest ever defence at this stage of a Premier League season. Duff delivers this time. Smith rising, and what he would give for his first Newcastle goal on this day of all days.
Well, let's have a look at the penalty incident that Chris Foy decided wasn't a penalty. He watched Rio Ferdinand, just sticks the leg out, and you can quite clearly see he does get a little bit in the ball there. Michael Owen just getting in behind, and he just gets a touch in the ball. Kevin Keegan certainly didn't think so. He's looking for a penalty kick. I think the referee's spot on. Ronaldo, who'd been quiet, switched over from right side to left side, picked a peach of a ball out, and Zogbia fell asleep, and Wayne Rooney, well, he ain't going to miss from there.
60 seconds between those two incidents. Duff. It's bobbled towards Smith. And now in Zogbia. Zogbia sidestepping Nani. Oh dear. Not what you want to do at that particular moment in time. Sir Alex Ferguson says he loves coming to St James's Park, not just because he usually wins here. Quick word with the goal scorer.
A wonderful play from Cristiano Ronaldo, and lovely ball at the back post, and you can just see Charles Nzogbia, body position all wrong, hadn't a clue when he was behind him, sneaking in at the far post. After a good start, you switch off for a second and you get punished. That's what's happened to Newcastle.
Rooney's 8th Premier League goal against Newcastle. And Vidic is in agony. And this is why.
It's one of those when he's clearing the ball that the foot's been left in from the striker. Michael Owen just hanging the leg out there. He's certainly going for the ball, but Vidic's momentum catches him on the studs.
Painful, very painful, and it's a yellow card for Michael Owen. And that's 3 Newcastle players booked now, but United will be hoping that Vidic is okay. His partnership with Ferdinand, perfect in so many ways.
Well, there's no other way to go for that ball. If you're a striker, you're trying to close it down. You've got to, you've got to put your leg out there like that. Your studs are going to be raised. It goes without saying. And how many times have we seen an injury like that with a defender clearing it, and the referees decided that it's a yellow card for Michael Owen. And looking at it again, you could probably say it'd be hard to argue against it, but I think he's entitled to go for it, and I think the supporters will be wanting to see that from the player, and trying to get close and trying to make challenges.
Vidic is back on. Stephen Taylor's header. Here is Vidic getting little sympathy from the Toon Army. So Bobby Robson again taking in the game on the day Newcastle unveiled a bust of him in their reception. And of course he celebrated his 75th birthday this week, one of the game's great managers, and a gentleman to boot. He'd like to see Newcastle find a way to goal, but that's easier said than done when you're up against mighty Manchester United. Smith. Ronaldo. Now Nani. It's a speedy counter-attack, but Nani unable to release Carlos Tevez. Fletcher slid in. Joey Barton. Taking no nonsense. Wes Brown, who's been linked with a move to Newcastle, and he's just turned down United's latest contract offer, forcing Sir Alex Ferguson to launch a blistering attack on Brown's agent. He won't want to be bumping into Sir Alex for a while. Brown. It's Darren Fletcher, Tevez waiting in the middle. He's taking the long way round. Barton. Wrong option, in fact it turned into nothing from Joey Barton.
Well, I just felt Cristiano Ronaldo was the better option behind. Great run from Fletcher, loads of energy. I don't know if he got a shout, Tevez, from Ronaldo coming in.
Well, they're in again though, and it's Rooney and Ronaldo hunting as a pair. Wide this time from Cristiano Ronaldo, but Manchester United signalling their intent again.
Well, Newcastle can be thankful he just takes this a bit wide. They're, cut up and again, they're stretched. The first touch just takes him wide. I don't think he's going to beat Given from there. They may have had somebody taking the chance at the back post when this comes across the 6-yard box, but worrying signs for Newcastle. They're going to have to, push forward to try and get it back in this game, and well, that is going to leave plenty of space for United players to operate.
Damien Duff. That's a corner. Would have gone out before Van der Sar clutched it.
Well, I think the one thing you can say about Newcastle is when they've got into decent position, they've got to get more people in the box, they've got to get people up quicker. And looking at them from set pieces so far, and they've had a few, they're not the tallest of sides, Newcastle, only fair really. Manchester United have got the advantage in that stake.
James Milner's corner. Van der Sar decided to come again.
Well, he doesn't look sure, does he, in cross balls this evening, that's for sure. I mean, there's plenty of bodies in there. It's very difficult for a keeper to come through all them bodies. There's certainly no free kick. And it's a good corner into a decent area. It's going to have to be whipped in, because I did say Newcastle, they're not the tallest side. When you look at United with Ferdinand, Vidic, even the likes of Ronaldo going back, very good in the air.
Newcastle with a miserable recent record against Manchester United. They've taken just 2 points on the last 36 on offer. They have offered little resistance lately against Manchester United. Nani. Oh, Nani's cross was so inviting for Carlos Tevez, and that perhaps should have been 2-0.
Well, it should have been in the back of the net. Another wonderful ball into the box. This time Nani just gets a yard on Zogby. I think Tevez just gets under it a little bit. Maybe just up a fraction early. Plenty of bodies in there. Keeper absolutely no chance if he hits the target. And I just think he got up a fraction early, Tevez. Didn't quite get his timing right.
Nicky Butt won that, scooped away by Carrick. Before today, Wayne Rooney had scored in 10 games for Manchester United this season. And guess how many they won? Yep, all 10.
And you mentioned earlier, Crocs, about how tight they've been at the back as well, so it's going to be doubly difficult for the home side. Really caught between a rock and a hard place about how many bodies they can throw forward without leaving the cell open.
Ferdinand rising above Smith. Here is Butt. Nobody out wide for him. Carrick for Ronaldo. Rooney. Tevez in close attendance. Cleared by Stephen Taylor. Ferdinand going long towards Rooney. Falls kindly for Tevez. Here is Ronaldo. And Joey Barton nipped in. Duff. Owen. Owen still inside his own half, and Newcastle won't want to see him there too often. Fletcher. Ronaldo. Carrick. Tevez. They come at you from all angles. Tevez eager to take over. But nearly caught him then. Over the head of Michael Owen, who felt that he was fouled. Manchester United away to Edwin van der Sar's former club Fulham next week, then Lyon and Portsmouth ahead in cup competitions. Exciting times, but aren't they always, for Manchester United. Smith. And Zogbia. Last minute of the first half. Carrick fends off Barton. The second United goal would be a real choker now for Newcastle. It could happen. No, it's Ronaldo. It does happen. A touch of R&R for Manchester United today. Rooney and then Ronaldo. Hat-trick against Newcastle last season, last month, and he's got them in his sights again.
Well, what a season he's having, but it just opens up for him. You can see him making the run. Defenders have got to spot him. Stephen Taylor gets his body position all wrong. He actually turns his back on it, straight through the heart of the Newcastle defence, and he's not going to miss from there. And once again, Given gets no protection. And a lovely little ball from Michael Carrick in acres of space, little slide ball in there. And the signs over the last 10 minutes or so were ominous for Newcastle, being opened up, much more space in the game. And I did say, if you give people like Ronaldo space and time, then they will punish you. And after a pretty good start to this match, Newcastle, it is now backs to the wall stuff for them.
We're into 2 minutes of stoppage time. Cristiano Ronaldo's 28th goal of the season. He had actually gone 3 games without scoring. What a terrible drought for him. Bay. It's bounced off Barton horribly. Well, it was always going to be a big ask, this, for Newcastle.
Well, I did say before the game that, you know, you're going to have to defend properly, and that's for sure. And you know, they've had 2 moments really where they've switched off. Not so much the second one there, although I have to say Stephen Taylor's body position surprised me. He actually turned his back at one point, hadn't a clue where Ronaldo was. And well, Michael Carrick had the space to pick the ball out, and Ronaldo didn't disappoint. And well, it was 6-0 at Old Trafford not too long ago, after being 0-0 at half-time. And this type of result going in at half-time really knocks the stuffing out of players when, well, for 25-30 minutes you've actually did okay.
Smith. Barton. It's fallen flat for Newcastle. And that's been a familiar feeling at St James's Park this season. It's going to be a free kick though, right on the stroke of half-time. And this famous old ground would certainly erupt if they manage to sneak a goal here. And they don't half need to.
Well, they've had a few set pieces in this first half. They've had a chance. You know, the keeper's not looked convincing when they've put some decent quality in. Certainly need a goal, that's for sure.
It is Duff then to whip it in. They've just eluded Faye. And it is half-time. Wayne Rooney just loves scoring against Newcastle. He put United in front. Ronaldo, well, he'd been having a quiet evening, but then he made one and he scored one. That's Cristiano Ronaldo for you, and that's Wayne Rooney for you. And then right.
So an awful lot of work for Newcastle to do. Well, I wonder if Steve Harper really wants to come off for this second half. Well, he's on for Shay Given, whose groin has just proved a little bit too much for him. Les, is there any way for Newcastle back into this game?
It's hard to see it. You know, because they're not even creating the chances. Van der Sar didn't have a save to make in the first half, so you say if they were creating chances, then they've got a chance going forward. You know, they've got to tighten up at the back, but they're not creating chances, so it's very difficult to see how they are going to get back into this game.
It's saving face, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah. I think so, mate. I think as long as the public, they try and try and try, I think, you know, if they just come across a fantastic Manchester United team, so be it. But if they give their all, I think people will put up with that. You know, United on their day are very special, aren't they?
And a change for Manchester United as well. It's Patrice Evra who is going off to be replaced by John O'Shea. Right, let's go back to our commentary team of Craig and Ian.
Long way back for Newcastle, very long way back. Manchester United in the comfort zone. Thanks to Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo, who has now scored 20 goals in the Premier League this season, one ahead of Arsenal's Emmanuel Adebayor.
Well, we'll see what Newcastle are all about second half. Backs to the wall for them. How are they going to respond? Are United going to go on and do what they did to them at Old Trafford? Well, we shall see.
Every goal is vital, but the next one in this game will be crucial. Alan Smith's going to get a free kick off Nemanja Vidic. Zogbia then will float this in. If Newcastle can start the second half with a goal, what a difference that would make. But Edwin van der Sar not under too much pressure to take that. Change of keeper at the other end then. Steve Harper on for Shay Given. And Carlos Tevez is trying to give him an early test. But Tevez was matched every step of the way by Nzogbia.
Brilliant kick from van der Sar. Tevez just lost a gut to get up on the counter-attack.
So a change apiece at half-time with Harper and O'Shea on.
Certainly Gibbon looked as if he was struggling with his kicking game. A couple of times ball came back to him. He was very tentative, also trying to protect that groin.
Milner. Carrick in his way. Sliced by O'Shea. Steve Harper making his 100th appearance for Newcastle. It's only taken him 15 years to reach that milestone. The only survivor of Kevin Keegan's first time around. But for Milner. Bay leaves it for Nicky Butt. Smith for Milner. Habib Bey didn't see that coming. And it will be marshalled behind for a goal kick by Vidic.
I just wonder how Newcastle are going to break this very good Manchester United back four down. We've spoken about them already, but what's Kevin Keegan's team going to do different to they did in the first half? Didn't get enough support up to Owen and Smith at times, and when they did get a very good ball in from Milner, they didn't have any bodies in the box, so they're going to have to take some chances and try and squeeze up the game in midfield. Keep getting Milner on the ball, because he was the one in the first half for the home side that was causing one or two problems.
Newcastle a little too close for comfort to the relegation zone. Their next two games are home to Blackburn and then away to Liverpool. It doesn't get much easier. Damien Duff shrugging off Ronaldo. Nani got involved as well. Ferdinand. Sir Alex Ferguson renewing acquaintance with Kevin Keegan. Keegan did actually win a couple of Manchester derbies in his time at City. And of course, famously beat Fergie's team in the 90s 5-0 here. Those were the days. Joey Barton. And Newcastle give the Toon Army a lift. Van der Sar contested.
Well, that's the trouble for them. They can stick those type of balls in the box all day, but it's not going to come to fruition for them because they've no real physical presence up there. OK, Smith puts himself about. You wouldn't call him a target man. And Michael Owen, well, he needs a certain type of service into the box for him to thrive. Something he's not had.
Shola Amiobi and young Andy Carroll is a big lad. Both on the bench. But Kevin Keegan, we'll see how it goes for the time being. Nicky Butt, who was a prominent part of Manchester United's recent success. Alan Smith, another facing his former club. Bay seeking out Smith. Steered away by Carrick. Nicky Butt. And Barton trying to barge his way through, and it's a corner.
They've had plenty opportunities from free kicks and corners. Really troubled United yet, Manchester United that is. Well, Van der Sar hasn't looked the most comfortable in cross balls.
It's Damien Duff to send that in, and it was Cristiano Ronaldo who met it. Milner, Stephen Taylor still up there. Goal kick, Taylor felt otherwise.
Taylor at the back post, he's claiming for a corner. He may just have nicked off Brown's head. I'm just looking around me here, I can't believe the amount of people in this main stand just taking up their seat. Still coming up these galleys here. And what, 6 minutes into the second half, the grub must have been good at half time. See that, or they don't want to see the second half. You've been seeing some of the space and some of the moves from Manchester United in the first. Maybe fearing the worst.
Ferdinand dealing with Smith. Now Ronaldo and Rooney, the two goal scorers. Oh, Michael Carrick nearly put Nani away. Rooney had the same idea. Tsunami trying to find their voice, but it's a bit of a strain at the moment. Zogbia though, for Michael Owen, and Damien Duff! Vital save from Van der Sar to stop Newcastle getting back into this game, but it was wonderful to watch from Duff.
Well, it was. I just wondered if he took an extra touch. I thought he should have hit it here. Then he decides to take another one. I think what happens then is it gets stuck under his feet. Damien Duff, I felt if he'd have taken it first time and he'd get more power behind it.
Smith can't force it through. It's been battered wide by Nicky Butt, who would have loved to score against Manchester United.
I just felt this good play from Newcastle, really. Duffkin, I just felt there was the time to hit it. I don't know why he decided to take the extra touch. It was sitting perfectly for him. It's still a decent effort, but it was more comfortable for the goalkeeper because he really couldn't get any power behind it. And what was maybe their best chance in the match.
Newcastle have only scored 2 Premier League goals in 2008. They're going to have to match that tally in the second half of this game if they are to salvage something. It seems unlikely at the moment. And if United get a third, it will surely become mission impossible. Here's Joey Barton. Duff gave Brown the run around, and it's going to come to Nicky Butt again. Decided not to have a go that time. Wayne Rooney doing defensive duty, but then he normally does whatever is asked of him. Faye's header cannoned off Ronaldo, and now Nani has got Tevez and Ronaldo with him. He's found Cristiano Ronaldo. Tell you what, he needs to work on his finishing, doesn't he?
Well, it may have taken a bobble, I don't know, but I know what it was. It was 3-on-2 in the break here. You can just see Ronaldo at the back post, acres of space. Not the greatest of ball to him, not a lot of pace in it. And the defender in front of him, trying to whip it in that left-hand corner. Goes without saying, doesn't catch it right.
Before today, Ronaldo had gone 2 Premier League games without scoring for the first time since October, would you believe? Normal service, resumed on Tyneside. Ronaldo scored the second after setting up the first for Rooney. Barton, Faye, Bay for Smith. Now Milner. Newcastle desperately seeking some encouragement. Tevez. Ronaldo on the edge. He's about to be joined by Nani. Ronaldo was stumbling, but he's not now. He's in again. It is Cristiano Ronaldo. It's inevitable. He's on the verge of yet another hat-trick against Newcastle. It is 3-0 now and counting.
Well, it is just a mess at the back for Newcastle, an absolute mess. Because Faye here gets himself all in the wrong position. I thought he was favourite to win this ball. Ronaldo slips, and look at that, that's half-hearted. And then Ronaldo gets in, and well, there's more bad defending from Stephen Taylor. Second time this evening. Great composure from Ronaldo, doesn't panic, goes past Taylor, he's not there. Around the heartless Harper, who's once again the same as Given, left stranded.
Cristiano Ronaldo is now one short of 30 goals for the season. Sadly, some bottles have been thrown on, and there is no excuse for that whatsoever. And Newcastle are facing another drubbing from Manchester United, and from that man who's on a personal mission against them.
Well, I mean, what is Faye doing? I mean, first of all, the ball up from Tevez, he looked to go over the top for Ronaldo. He should have just come and cleared that and headed it. He allowed Ronaldo to control it, and then he gave it away. Ronaldo, when he slipped, and what Faye was trying to do after that, only he'll be able to tell us. Well, you look at Manchester United, and their back line, then it allows them to go and attack. But Newcastle, you know, they defending this evening for the 3 goals, well, not good.
Rooney. Nicky Butt for Damien Duff. Michael Owen, a forlorn figure. Butt for Barton. Terrific tackle from Michael Carrick. John O'Shea finds Ronaldo, and now Tevez. Worryingly for Newcastle, there's still over half an hour to go. Oh, and Alan Smith being very Alan Smith-like in catching Fletcher. It was always going to be a tall order for Kevin Keegan's Newcastle today.
Well, I think he was looking round there. I think he's having a look at his bench and thinking, what can I do to change it? And let me tell you, the answer is not a lot. Not a lot. Such as the players in the squad he's working with at the moment.
Well, it could be Andy Carroll. It is, in fact, who will be given a run out. Kevin Keegan spoke very highly of the young striker this week. He's been out on loan this season at Preston. He will certainly add some height. Manchester United putting Newcastle in their place again, but O'Shea, who came on at the start of the second half at Evra, who we think took a slight knock towards the end of the first half. Taylor. This is going to be a long half hour for Newcastle United, you suspect?
You're not wrong. They're going to make a change, but it's 3-0 down. And just watch this first ball up here. Once again, there's a defender turning his back on it. And here, well, you think, all right, they've got away with it. Not too many problems. Then he just gives it away. And Ronaldo doesn't do anything special. He just knocks it by Taylor. He dives in, and well, that's great composure. great composure. And once he went through and goal, the crowd just held their breath because they knew it was only one place it was going.
Joey Barton has gone off, and Andy Carroll, just 19 years of age, has come on for a rare taste of Premier League action, presumably under orders to score a hat-trick if he possibly could.
And you look at Kevin Keegan's last time here, where they had much better players, scored plenty of goals, but didn't defend the best, you would say. Well, that's where he's got to start again, I'm afraid. Whether people like it or not, he's going to have to build from the back if he is going to be the man long term, Kevin Keegan.
Habib Bey's throw, aimed towards Carroll, who then kept it in. Manchester United refusing to budge, though. Nicky Butt centre. Alan Smith for Charles Nzogbia. Damien Duff. Milner. Vidic deciding to deal with that, even though Van der Sar was waiting right behind him. Newcastle having a torrid time. They will be without a win in 10 matches in the Premier League. Only Derby County have gone longer without winning. And we all know what's happening to them. O'Shea. Terrible kick from Van der Sar. Job done by Manchester United effectively and efficiently. Helped on by Butt and then by Smith. Oh, and nearly, Rio Ferdinand nearly over Van der Sar.
Yeah, that was always pretty comfortable for him.
Here's Nani. Ronaldo making a busy run. It's offside against Carlos Tevez, though.
Well, he's affected the game again. Ronaldo, pretty quiet at the start. And Nzogbia played him well. And just look at that, clinical. 5 on target 2. And the end start, the important one, 2 goals.
31 of Manchester United's last 37 Premier League goals have been scored by either Ronaldo, Rooney or Tevez. Away by Vidic. Flicked on by Nani.
For all these players at Manchester United that, get all the headlines, the Tevez, the Rooneys, Ronaldo, Giggs, Nannies, all these type of guys, you have to say the centre-back partnership of Ferdinand and Vidic has been really, really solid for them.
Damien Duff giving it a go, but it sticks with Van der Sar.
Well, it's going to have to be pretty good. Van der Sar from this type of distance. Just back off him a little bit, but it entices him to have the shot, Duff. But in truth, Van der Sar really has not really been troubled this evening. 1 or 2 cross balls in from set pieces that he's flapped at, but in terms of shot stopping, well, it's been pretty quiet for him. And as I said earlier, he's got 2 big strapping centre halves that are pretty no nonsense at times in front of him. Something Newcastle could be doing really when you look at some of their defending.
Manchester United are going to make another change soon. They're going to bring on a player who had a spell with Newcastle a few years ago, Louis Saha. Zogbia. Over and out.
Not his favoured foot, his right one. Goes up a bit of a cul-de-sac here when he comes inside. I think he's looking to make a bit of space to whip it in, but he's whips it across the box on the right foot. It's way underneath it, really.
Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be denied the chance of a second hat-trick because he is about to be replaced. Scored 3 against Newcastle at Old Trafford last month, 2 at St James's Park this month. Time for a rest, son. Made the first goal, scored the next 2. Cristiano Ronaldo has earned a breather, and he is replaced by Louis Saha. He spent half a season on loan at Newcastle in 1999. His time with Manchester United often disrupted by injuries. Harper had to deal with that quickly because Nani was closing in on Shay Given, suffering a recurrence of the groin injury that forced him off at Aston Villa a fortnight ago. Sir Alex Ferguson gave the United fans, who are up in the gods here, a wave. And Manchester United have given Newcastle a goodbye wave. Wes Brown sent it back to Nicky Butt. Still a quarter of the game to go. Newcastle would probably like it to end about now. Smith lost it. Fletcher spoilt for choice. Tevez or Saha. He's gone for Saha. Tevez. Rooney. Tevez now for O'Shea. Andy Carroll leaves it for Owen, but for Milner. Another dreadfully disappointing day for Newcastle, and there have been far too many of them lately. Nani. Brown. Carrick. Rooney. He didn't do Fletcher any favours, but Fletcher still managed to fend off Carroll. Rio Ferdinand. Fletcher for Tevez. Saha for Rooney.
Just toying with them now. Playing the game at their own pace, United.
Stephen Taylor upending Saha. Actually, Chris Moore, the men at the helm of Newcastle, not even the most diehard of Geordie fan, would have been expecting too much out of today, surely. Worry for Vidic. Yep, it's been that kind of day for Newcastle. It's been that kind of season, in fact. Does Wayne Rooney fancy this? Looks like it. Long way out. But when you're 3-0 up, why not? Straight against the wall from Rooney. Fletcher. Nani. Zogbia for Milner. Trying to weave his way through, James Milner, but it never looked like it was going to happen. Carrick now for Nani. We're into the last 20 minutes. Can Manchester United score 4? Sahar losing out to Faye.
I tell you, they've got great energy in midfield as well, United. Fletcher and Carrick. I listened to the lads talking about Carrick earlier. I like him as well. I think he's a very good footballer. And one thing I like about him is as soon as he gets the ball, his first thought is to pass it forward, get it into the strikers or get it wide. Very good passer of the ball as well. I think Fletcher's complimented him today with his work rate.
Well, Carrick was outstanding in that 6-0 dismissal of Newcastle last month. And he's excelled again against his home City club. And Carrick's going to get a free kick off Alan Smith.
Yeah, it was pretty tit for tat. First 20 minutes with Manchester United midfield pairing and the Newcastle have battened them but no quarter given, but I think the United pair in Manchester, that is, have certainly got the better of the game, and that's allowed their key players to go and do what they do best.
Sahar. Paul Scholes is going to be on shortly. Rooney. Carrick. Brown for Nani. Butt and Taylor conspire to clear. Well, like Wayne Rooney, Paul Scholes has scored more goals against Newcastle than any other club. Not the person Newcastle wanted to see. Milner ran into O'Shea. Tevez. Carrick. Nicky Butt gave him a right old kick then, and that's going to earn a yellow card. The 4th Newcastle player to be booked.
A bit of frustration, I think, from Nicky Butt against his old club. Certainly not been a good evening for him. The match started pretty well for Butt, but really lost that battle in there.
Well, Nemanja Vidic hurt in an earlier challenge and still struggling, so he's going to be replaced, and that will no doubt lead to a little rejig. It's Paul Scholes then. Once scored a hat-trick against Newcastle and a few more against them besides. Missed a large chunk of the season through injury.
Probably go and play centre-half. Scholes, such as the dominance in this match, wouldn't make much of a difference. Brown's going to go back there though. This game's well and truly over. I think it's just about whether they do go on and score another one. Manchester United, certainly no evidence from Newcastle that they're going to get back into the game, as we see a little bit of afters again. Nani involved once again. Not a great deal in it. A little word from the referee, I think that will suffice.
Newcastle fans wanted to see some punishment for Nani, but it was correctly just a quick word from Chris Foy. Quarter of an hour remaining. Manchester United on easy street. Free kick given against Sahar. Just as well for Newcastle because Rooney was on his way then. Darren Fletcher now filling the right-back berth. Duff up against Fletcher. John O'Shea steers that away. Nicky Butt. Here's Nzogbia. Duff. Scholes. Carrick. Sahar. Scholes. Unable to help it through to Rooney. With Arsenal dropping points today, Manchester United set to close the gap to 3 points. And the outcome of this game has never really been in too much doubt. Newcastle will be glad to see the back of Manchester United for this season. Offside against Owen.
Wayne Rooney just trying to clear it. Certainly offside, no doubt about that. Just look at this Newcastle side. They're not out the mire yet at the bottom of the league. Okay, they've got a little bit of leeway, but they're just not scoring goals. And when you look at them this evening, they're not defending very well either.
Now there's a phrase that's been uttered a fair bit in recent years.
As I say, they should have enough, but you've got to go out there and get the results, put the points on the board. Confidence here has got to be very, very low.
Milner sending it in Andy Carroll's direction. Carroll has bumped Fletcher out of the way. No free kick actually. It's going to be a corner.
I thought it was good strength from Carroll. Big lad been sent on. Try and ruffle a few feathers. Good strength here on Fletcher. Never gives it up. And wins his side another corner.
James Milner's corner, and Carolyn Fay has put it in, and Newcastle have got a goal. And there's been a bit of a spat in the aftermath.
Well, I think Van der Sar had a little kick there on the goal line. What I will say is I've had many corners in this game. It's the first time they've really caused any problems as Fay smashes it in. Into a good area, plenty of bodies. Carroll gets the header, doesn't quite connect. He's not going to miss from there. Well, I don't think they can get back into this match, but you just never know.
Abdoulaye Faye's first goal for 14 months. His last one was for Bolton. Here's Sahar though. United springing into action again. Scholes. It's Nani and there are a few options. Scholes! And that's a fine save from Harper.
Yeah, great save. Point blank, really. Plenty of bodies forward again for United. Lovely little dink in here. And Scholes doing what he does best. Just can't quite get it down. Very good save from Harper.
I think they've annoyed Manchester United by scoring. Nani not in a hurry to take this. And over 50,000 Geordies, less than impressed. Jeremy is going to be coming on. Nani finally takes it. Smith presented it to Rooney. That is sensational. Manchester United are playing catch-up with Arsenal, and they are catching up.
Well, he just waited on the edge of the box. He didn't take part in the corner, he just waited in the hope that that second ball would drop out to him here. Not a great clearance from Alan Smith. Tries to make up for it with a challenge, but he knows what he wants to do, Rooney. It's the only thing he can do, really. And Smith's closing him down, and the keeper's got no chance there. We'll see from this angle here, it goes right in the corner, off the inside of the post. Another quality finish.
A double for Rooney, a double for Ronaldo. Newcastle definitely annoyed them by scoring. Tevez. Manchester United weren't showing too much interest in scoring again until Abdoulaye Faye popped up. They took it rather personally, and now they lead by 4 goals to 1 at St James's Park. And Carlos Tevez is looking to get in on the act. Scored a couple against Newcastle last month, but he's let others do the business today.
Well, they just switched off a little bit, Manchester United, is this. Wonderful finish from Rooney. Just waited on the edge of the box, waited for his chance. Picked his spot out.
Well, Cristiano Ronaldo was denied a possible hat-trick, and he was taken off by Sir Alex Ferguson, but Rooney is on one now. Alan Smith, Andy Carroll, Smith! And it's palmed away by Van der Sar. Alan Smith nearly scored his first goal for Newcastle.
Well, outside of the right boot for Alan Smith. Reasonably comfortable for the goalkeeper. Not had much to do with Van der Sar in terms of shot stopping. Not with enough pressure on him.
Milner's corner, and Van der Sar unchallenged. And looking for the quick throw. Carlos Tevez chasing. Charles Nzogbia speedy. Carroll. Milner. Smith and Faye in each other's way. Bay launching it to Carroll. It's Faye, who did score Newcastle's goal. And Van der Sar deciding not to come for that. And Owen put it into the side netting.
Well, it's half a chance. I don't know why the goalkeeper decides not to come. It was his ball all day long. It just hooked back in. It had plenty of height on it. He was always going to be the favourite. A little bit of hesitation from the goalkeeper.
Well, James Milner has tried his best to make it happen for Newcastle today. He's going to be replaced by Jeremy, who recently returned from the African Nations Cup, where he reached the final with Cameroon. And he lost that final to Egypt. So that's 10 goals in 2 games against Newcastle for Manchester United, and they might not have finished with them yet. Darren Fletcher. Tevez. Nani. Carrick. Tevez, Sahar, it's Rooney, it's all very ominous, and that is another splendid save from Harper to foil Sahar.
Well, they're queuing up, and I think if you look at this, there's what, 2-3 players that can stick this in. The only thing that saves him, he hits it straight at the goalkeeper, but it could have been Sahar, it could have been Tevez. Newcastle really all over the place at the back, keeper getting no protection.
Newcastle would love to go home, but they have 5 more minutes to endure. And Nani sends it in, and Sahar. Goal kick of Ferdinand.
Just going back to Wayne Rooney. You know, there was a spell where he wasn't getting on the score sheet, but you know, I think if you looked at his general play at that time when Ronaldo was the one bagging all the goals and Tevez, his general play was excellent. His movement, his link-up play, you know, and his assist really. Well, add that into the goals now that he's getting. We're seeing the best of him, that's for sure. At a hugely important time in the season.
Yes, he's up to 13 goals now, Wayne Rooney. Unlucky for some, unlucky for Newcastle today. Manchester City and Everton both having superb seasons, and you can see them from Monday at 7 o'clock on Standard Sports 1. And Manchester City feature again on Saturday from 4 when they take on Wigan. And also in the northwest, it's Bolton against Liverpool. That's on Sunday from 12:30. Scholes, Tevez, Sahar in the middle. Michael Carrick making a big run as well, but Jeremy brought the move to an abrupt end, and Smith has been caught by Scholes.
Well, I think when you look at this game, Newcastle come out, the block's pretty sharp, got the crowd up, didn't cause too many problems, but it would have pleased their manager at the start. But if he looks at their defending and the lack of chances really they've created, he'll be a bit worried about that. And well, United, they've looked solid. They've had a bit of pace, a bit of power about them, plenty of craft, hitting form at the right time of the season. So Alex Ferguson has to be really pleased getting all his key players back as well. It's been a very good week for them, drawing Lyon and the hammer of Arsenal last week.
Fulham are in the firing line next. Manchester United head to London next weekend. Duff nipping in round the back. Nani. Mickey Butt determined, but Damien Duff can't get to that. Newcastle merely waiting to be put out of their misery, which has yet again been considerable. And Kevin Keegan will take his search for a first win since returning to Tyneside into next week's game here against Mark Hughes' Blackburn. Hughes, of course, who was linked with the St James's Park job as well.
Well, they huffed and puffed Newcastle early on, didn't they? But they're pretty lightweight up front for me. I know they've not had much service, but no Mark Viduka either, who can lead the line well, but doesn't seem to have fit it in well here at the moment. And, well, Alan Smith's played almost everywhere.
Michael Carrick for Carlos Tevez. Scholes. O'Shea for Carrick. Over the top for Louis Sahar.
And that's what I'm talking about with Carrick. He can spot an early pass, and he can deliver as well. Very good player in there. He has got options, Sir Alex Ferguson. He's got Scholes obviously coming off the bench today. He's got Hargreaves as well. Quite what his preferred option in there remains to be seen. Fletcher's been in and done a very good job. Plenty of options.
He has had a very good day. It started when Arsenal dropped points, albeit courtesy of a very controversial penalty in injury time at Birmingham. That gave Manchester United a lift if they needed one, and they have strolled to victory here at St James's Park without too many problems at all along the way.
Well, I think if you looked at one or two reactions in the Arsenal team, and also last week in the FA Cup when Gallas was having a slide kick at Nani, I think you've got to look at their temperament, and that's going to come into it in a big way the remainder of this season. Not only the ability to go and play and win matches, but to keep your cool as well. And well, nobody better at mind games than Sir Alex Ferguson, and Kevin Keegan will tell you all about that.
We're into 3 minutes of stoppage time.
3 minutes.
Nicky Butt for Andy Carroll. Zogbia. Steered away by O'Shea. Owen. Bay. Tevez stopped it reaching Owen. Everyone doing their job till the end for United. Sahar could put Rooney in. He could put him in for a hat-trick. He's still got a bit to do, Wayne Rooney. Rooney now finds Sahar. He gets in on the act against the club that he used to play for. And Manchester United have given Newcastle another drubbing.
Well, it's been an absolute hammering again, hasn't it? And the crowd are just leaving in their droves. I think Rooney fancies a hat-trick here, but he's crowded out. And fair play to Rooney, he could try and make it for himself here, but he spots Zaha, he's not greedy, plays in his teammate. Keeper's got absolutely no chance. Well, they've been emphatic, United. Absolutely emphatic. They've just carved Newcastle open.
His 5th goal of the season. 3 of them have come against Sunderland and 1 of them against Newcastle. He's certainly got it in for the North East teams. There is Sahar. The Newcastle fans did well not to leave before now.
Well, it doesn't do a power for your confidence when you're getting a hiding like this, I have to say, and you're down near the bottom of the league. They've deserved it. Brox, United, Manchester United, they've deserved it, there's no doubt about that.
Well, they scored 6 against Newcastle last month. Is it going to happen again? Wayne Rooney, hungry for a hat-trick, but he's tried to slip Nani in. And that's going to be a corner. And they could still score a 6th.
Oh, Newcastle out on their feet. Out on their feet. I'll just go back to that one when Newcastle were attacking and Tevez back defending. That sums it up.
And he sent it in. It's going to come back in his direction.
And a 4-1 down at the time, Crocs, and you've got Carlos Tevez in the left back position, hooking the ball away. I mean, that tells you everything about this United side at the moment. The commitment, head and hands from Newcastle supporters. Going to be a long remainder of the season for them, you feel. Many rumours about the North East here, about the way this club has now been structured.
It's all over. An emphatic victory for Sir Alex Ferguson on the day that he renewed acquaintance with Kevin Keegan. It was Ferguson who loved it. United dominance. Wayne Rooney yet again outstanding and scoring 2 goals to go with his overall contribution to the Manchester United cause. Louis Sahar came on to score at the end. Rooney set him up for that. And Cristiano Ronaldo bagged a brace as well. The outcome was never really in doubt. Very one-sided. And Kevin Keegan's dream return to Newcastle is turning into a bit of a nightmare. United beat them 6-0 last month, 5-1 this month. On the day that Arsenal dropped points, Manchester United have taken all 3 with ease, and this could be a very telling day in the race for the title. Kevin Keegan has every right to be a worried man, though. Arsenal beware, Manchester United are coming to get you. It finishes at St James's Park. Newcastle 1, Manchester United 5.
Well, the music may say everything changes, but nothing changes for Manchester United against Newcastle. They win, they score goals, 11-1 in the 2 games they've played. So here is the Barclays Premier League table tonight, with Manchester United now just 3 points behind Arsenal after they were held to a 2-2 draw at St Andrews. So United, 3 points. That is all the difference now between them and Arsenal on top of the table. Down at the bottom, well, Newcastle still just 6 points away from the relegation zone, which is occupied by Reading, didn't play today, Fulham and Derby, who both lost.